What is going on, everybody? It is Dylan with Astro DFS, bringing you a brand new video. This video is pretty much a recap of the XFL season and my takeaway from how it went. We're just gonna call it year one. I know it's not year one, obviously. Might not even be year two for some if you consider it. I'm gonna say year one. It's a new ownership group. New version of the league, USFL being there was also huge for this season. So I'm going to call it year one. That's what I'm going to call it. And Arlington pulls out the win. First of all, congratulations to the Renegades for making a complete 180. I think Luis Perez is the MVP of the XFL this season. Jordan Tiamo looked great all year. A lot of players could have had that, but I think what Luis Perez did for Arlington is what made them a championship team. If he's not there, they did not go as far as they did. So congratulations to them for that win and the XFL for a really good year. 61 points scored in the championship game. That's always good. Good to have a high-scoring game than a low-scoring game, in my opinion. For the championship, you just have more people watching because there's points rather than pretty much a snooze fest. But it did end with Arlington taking it. So just go over some of the things that we've seen this season. DC 9-1, Arlington 4-6. DC's team looked really good, obviously towards the end of the year. They fall against Orlando, almost lost against San Antonio here, against Arlington, close game. So, they play Seattle and their defense looked really good. Their offense looked almost unstoppable. A lot of talent. I'm interested to see where more of that talent goes as far as NFL invites, camp invites for both teams. But DC, especially having that good of a roster, we've seen over the past couple weeks of players getting camp invites. And now, if you guys are XFL fans and just want more official news, just the big main story news, follow these guys, the XFL PR. They post a lot of stuff like that. But this is so far all of the players that have been signed NFL contracts. This is not just the camp invites and stuff like that. This is the legitimate signing so far. As you can see, Seattle, a lot of players from that team. Couple guys from St. Louis, Houston, John Parker Romo. Definitely a highlight of the XFL this year was him. Ben DiNucci, I think, is a shock to a lot of people. Getting picked up by Denver. Keys Patrick also got a offer to Denver as well, I believe. I don't know if they have any more. They have an updated one, but they kind of have it here. But there are some more names, obviously, but still waiting to see the DC and Arlington guys get their invites, get contracts. Overall, I think if you look at this year in the XFL, and you can go and look at the TV ratings as a kind of a progress bar of where they were, obviously early in the season, a lot of viewership throughout the year, pretty consistent in my opinion. I think it was good viewership year, the entire season, and then a big viewership in the championship game. Being on ABC was definitely huge for the game, so a lot of viewership there. I look at success for what this league was as a huge success. So if you're going based off of, let's say, money or let's say viewership and stuff like that, then yeah, you can make an argument. I view this as exactly what this league and the USFL are made for, and that is being another way for football talent, not just players, but coaches and stuff like that, to get that exposure again, a second chance. Maybe their mentality wasn't right. Maybe they had something physically, maybe something off the field, problems. And this is exactly what this was, to where, hey, you're not where you need to be for the NFL, but we have room for you. We want to give you a shot. And this is just the beginning. Like 11 players, still a couple teams, like I mentioned, DC and Arlington. Obviously, being a lot of people watching means a lot more scouts and player personnel watching. So I imagine that number's only going to go up. But that's good. That's exactly what you wanted out of this league. In my opinion, that's what I was hoping for, and I hope it continues. XFL is already doing pre-orders for next year's tickets, season tickets, I believe. So they're going to be back for another year, another season. It's going to be a long time. Obviously, we still have to have this up-and-coming NFL season, which doesn't start until August, September, around there. So we're looking at a very long time for the XFL. My worry, and it's not even a worry, but my worry going into next season is not having a lot of these names. A lot of the guys that should have gotten that second shot are getting it. What the XFL is going to struggle to do now, I think this season or next season, is get some of those names that make people want to watch it. Obviously, every year you're going to get a new set of college talent, which is good. The younger the better. Those are guys that didn't get their shot. They're getting a shot now, maybe overlooked for one reason or another. But you're going to have to get some names in there to make people watch. Like XFL had a lot of people, a lot of names: Jordan Ta'amu, Luis Perez, Ben DiNucci, Philip Lindsay signed late in the year, which I think was huge. You saw a couple former NFL guys, just as of recently, not being on rosters, coming back to the XFL or Spring League, for that matter. And I think it's huge. I think that's going to be something the NFL is going to rely on, and you're going to see talent rely on. Obviously, every year there's more people coming into the NFL, so that means some players have to get kicked out. There's only so many roster spots, including, the practice squad. So you're going to need to fight for your spot. What someone like Philip Lindsay did, even though number-wise it didn't look the best, but it still gives him that opportunity to show to the NFL that he is or is not needed in a locker room, in my opinion. So I think that is something to look forward to for years to come. So kind of getting a balance of former NFL talent now having somewhere to where the money's probably not anything what they need. They're just looking for more exposure, and you're getting that young talent out of college kind of combining to just keep producing XFL talent. It also gives the NFL another source of talent. You see Canadian Football League, Arena Football League guys get picked up here and there, but actually having it broadcasted on TV to where the scouting is a lot easier, the player evaluation is a lot easier, the player progression or regression for that matter, like you could see all of it now, and I think it's just better for the talent as a whole. Even coaches, coordinators, all that stuff, personnel put into it, guys getting shots, so going back to some of the recapping of it, obviously St. Louis did make it into the playoffs. That was a huge bummer. Allowing Orlando to score 28 points, I think, was the big factor. Seattle did what they needed to do, 19 points. St. Louis won by 25, but overall season points, they needed to win by a lot more, unfortunately. San Antonio, that team couldn't get an offense rolling no matter who they had at quarterback. Their defense was very good. Kurt Benkert, I wish he wouldn't have gotten hurt. I would have loved to see him play more, get a little more time with the playbook and personnel to develop and get some chemistry. So we didn't get to see that. Orlando, we saw towards the end of the season them actually look like a team. Definitely some talent coming out of Orlando as well. Vegas, that team, I mean, they traded away Luis Perez. They traded him away. And, he made them regret it, I guess, if you want to say. Vegas' team just could not get it going offensively, defensively. Those two never clicked. Either the defense didn't look all that terrible, even though they were, and could make some stops, or the offense just could not move the ball. So they were a very disappointing team. Seattle was a huge hit-or-miss team. Ben DiNucci, unfortunately had a lot of turnovers in key situations, but that Seattle wide receiver room was something special to watch. Josh Gordon, Keir Pearson, Green, I just can't think right now, but very, very fun to watch them. Houston, once they lost, they were never the same team. I think it was, week 5? Against Seattle? Yeah, because they were 4-0. They go against Seattle, lose against DC, lose against St. Louis. They barely beat San Antonio, barely beat a Vegas team, beat Arlington, which was huge, but guys were sitting out, and then they lose to Arlington. Arlington just came back and got them. So yeah, that was a crazy run. Houston looked like they were going to be the favorites. They looked like no one can stop them at all, like even close. And DC was a very interesting team to watch. You never knew for the beginning of the season who was going to be their quarterback, how the quarterback play was going to be. They were in Abraham Smith, the best running back by far, not even close, anyone close to him. Abraham Smith had a hell of a season. St. Louis with A.J. McCarron, I think what A.J. McCarron did was huge for the game of football itself. Taking another chance on yourself. Obviously he could have stayed in the NFL as a backup quarterback, but he wanted to show that he still had that ability to be a quarterback and lead a team. And I mean, they did. They had a really good season, but just fell short towards the end of the year. That point differential was huge, plus the A.J. McCarron type of injury towards the end. So that is it, guys, for my recap of the year. Obviously, I stopped the DFS part. The betting I still did, just off camera. The DFS just kind of died down. There weren't enough entries. It was all small contests, so it really didn't have that much of an impact as it did in the beginning of the season. So that's why I kind of stopped that. So look forward for some NFL content. I'm trying to schedule out how I want to address this upcoming NFL season as far as DFS, Dynasty, Fantasy, all that stuff, kind of how I'm going to tackle this season. So be on the lookout for that. So hope you guys do enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.